Your crops are at the mercy of Mother Nature, and as the season progresses, environmental conditions can stress your plants in various ways. Determining the proper response to these stresses in season can be a challenge.
Well, there's no question from season to season, Mother Nature holds a lot of cards. Environmental factors can have a large effect on our crop's ability to take in nutrients. For example, in years with excessive rainfall, we can see some of our nutrients start to get away from us, especially those leachable nutrients like nitrate, nitrogen, boron, and sulfur. During those heavy rainfall seasons, we may have to address those nutrient deficiencies in season.
Looking at different application methods on how to address these deficiencies, we could either wait for the soil to dry out and then make our application, or if the moisture persists and we can't get across that acre, there's always aerial applications of certain nutrients that we could put down to address the deficiency in the field. So on the flip side of what we were just talking about, we have drought conditions or low moisture conditions in the soil. With that, we're going to have the potential for deficiencies in most of our nutrients. Potassium being the most prevalent in that. Potassium moves in and out of the plant with soil moisture. If we have a lack of soil moisture, we're not going to translocate that nutrient into the plant. A couple ways we can look at addressing the deficiencies during this time period is with side dress application. We can look at coming back in foliar as well. If you have access to irrigation, the drought's probably not a leading factor, but if we're still in drought conditions overall, that fertigation pass could be very beneficial to your crop. When you make these applications, it's going to be important to remember the source that you're using. In these type of conditions, you want to make sure that that nutrient's going to break down in a timely manner to actually be able to get into the plant. So maybe a dry fertilizer at that particular moment is not our best option, and we need to look at different sources of liquid fertility.
A challenge we can sometimes face in season is lodging of our crops. We can see that sometimes in corn or in wheat. Lodging can be caused by high wind events. It can be caused by too much moisture. Lodging can also be caused by insect feeding or insect pressure. We need to make sure we identify that correctly.
The other reason this can be caused is a nutrient deficiency. So we could have not enough potassium out there, low potassium in the plant, or we could have excessive nitrogen. Some ways we can get out ahead of this is pulling a tissue sample early in the season to see where our levels are. And if we see levels that aren't corrected or in correlation at that time, we're going to want to make an application either through side dress or foliar application. A couple ways to look at preventing this from happening in your field is going to be population of your field, making sure that we keep those populations where we need to be and not getting excessive populations, and then matching our nutrient plans to that population and what our goals are in the field.
Sometimes with a high wind event, Mother Nature will throw the 1-2 punch and include some hail. If we've had a hail event and the hail damage isn't so severe that we need to just simply destroy the crop and start over, we can a lot of times come back in with a foliar application, and generally we'll use a blend of a micronutrient package and a fungicide to help mitigate any disease that may come from that hail damage. By applying that blend of micronutrients and fungicide, a lot of times that application can help that crop recover from the damage, help mitigate disease, recover as much yield as possible.
Specifically in legume crops, it's important to consider several things that could show as nutrient deficiency in your crop. Environmental factors such as nematodes, disease, and poor inoculation in the soil could lead to showing of a lot of different things. If we look at poor inoculation, or going to a field that's never been in a legume crop before and we're putting it in for the first time, we may want to consider an inoculant at that point, because if we have poor nodulation, we're going to end up showing nitrogen deficiency later in that crop's life.
If you find yourself looking for answers to some of these environmental challenges in season, feel free to check out our website at agroliquid.com, hit the Ask an Agronomist tab, and one of our professional agronomists will be in contact with you to help with your questions.